You have now joined the Education Evolution, and you're listening to Tech Evolution. This is a podcast for the thinkers, the doers, and those who know the most important lessons aren't always learned in school.
And if you are brand spanking new here, welcome. We welcome you with open arms. And if you are here and you've been essentially grandfathered in from our previous show, The Reformist Pipeline, hey, how y'all doing? We are so freaking back. We are going to explain to you where we've been for all this time because I know it's been a long time. But, anyways, I am your host, Lindsay, affectionately known as Miss.
And I'm your other host, Hobby. So, to begin, we just want to talk about technology. Technology is always evolving, and so is how we learn. That's why in this episode, where we're going to spotlight what's working now and what's coming next, all in service of reimagining what learning can truly look like outside of the classroom.
We're going to start with a familiar friend or foe, depending on what side you're on. We'll get into that in a later episode. But we're talking about ChatGPT today. And I'm assuming at this point that we all know what ChatGPT is. But for those that don't, and for those that just want a more technical definition, ChatGPT is an advanced AI language model that understands and generates human like text using deep. So ChatGPT is a sort of conversational AI. And you can think of it as your like AI powered sidekick for work, learning, life, and whatever else you're using ChatGPT for.
And the proper way to use our dear friend ChatGPT is to make sure that you're prompting him, her, or them in the right way. And so, what is a prompt? A prompt is simply what you type into the chat, is what I like to call them. And there's several really good formulas for prompts that float around, but let's really just focus on these two things: context and the task. Context is the background that explains the purpose and what you need, and then the task is what the model is being asked to complete. Now, let's run through some of our favorite prompts, specifically for educators, but also for everyday life.
Yes, and it's so funny because Jihad has done a great job of like teaching me how to prompt. I also took like a Google AI Essentials course that was also helpful in walking me through it. And these are some of the best prompts for educators that I figured out. Now, before I get into the prompts for educators, you want to be sure if you are an educator in a school right now to follow along with whatever guidelines your school or your district has. Avoid putting any personal or vulnerable information, especially if it's an open tool and not an enterprise tool dedicated solely to your district. Now that the logistics are out the way, my first thought: parent and community communication was always a little like nerve wracking, I'd say, and time consuming when I was in the classroom. So I would prompt ChatGPT with a write a professional yet warm text message to parents explaining an upcoming unit on fractions and how they can support their child's learning at home. GPT will get all that for you. Classroom management and pushing beyond the basics. So let's say there's that you're a former athlete like myself. Maybe you idolize a particular coach. Like I'm just going to throw out Deion Sanders. Okay, I'm going to throw him out there. I would tell ChatGPT to create a classroom management strategy inspired by Deion Sanders that fosters mutual respect and accountability for extroverts. And I threw extroverts in there because I had a class of 31 students, and they were all extroverts, if you ask me. But that Deion Sanders, he runs a tight and respectful ship. So I might want to model my classroom management off of them. And I just want to plug Magic School AI. Eventually, we will get to a point where we are being sponsored by these places, but this is just a great tool. And if you're an educator that hasn't heard of Magic School AI, now's your chance. In short, it's ChatGPT for educators specifically. And you can sign up now and have free access to a slew of helpful templates. Two of the templates that I saw that were really cool was a rubric generator. So you can decide if there are like three levels, four levels, or five levels, and what each of those levels you're going to be grading on. With whatever project, whatever assignment you're going to have in the course, type those things in, it's going to pop out the generator. And for my special educators and mainstream classroom educators, this is important for you too. But Jahab will like this. They have IEP templates on there. So you wouldn't have to spend hours making those from scratch. That was excellent timing. Keep going. What, peace out.
Perfect. All right, and let's talk about what would be helpful for those everyday people, Lens. I think for me, I'm always thinking about meal prepping. And even though I don't get around to it every Sunday, that's something that I know that chat can help me with. And so you just go ahead and throw it into chat and say, make me a 5-day meal plan that is under those 1,800 calories. Let's focus on 100 grams of protein.
Mhm.
And for this week, I don't want to eat any red meat or pork and focus on lots of fruits and vegetables. So for that, I also
It's
wanted
funny
to
that
go ahead
Jahab
and then
hates
create
vegetables.
me. I also want chat to go ahead and create me a grocery list so that I know what I need to be looking for when I get to the grocery store, as well as it could even tell you like, oh, okay, like when you're looking for this ingredient, you can also find this ingredient by this. They might be on the same aisle. So
Mm.
I've always found that to be very helpful, very useful, so that I'm being very objective when I'm going into Wegmans and pulling out my grocery list. Another thing that chat has helped me with is random complex questions. I mean, I am the king of throwing into chat and saying, explain to me how this weird phenomena or this thing works, but create an analogy so that I'm able to relate it to how the school system works. Why is that? Because I always am grounded in all things education. And it's just a good grounding place to kind of start and know, like, oh, okay, like this is breaking it down into layman's terms so that it's not something that's going over my head. When I think of this, I'm thinking about, I mean, look, the first thing that came to my mind was the Bible. Like sometimes there are things that are going on in that book, and you're like, wait, this is just going too far, too over my head, and too over the
Mm.
top. But those
Hmm.
are just two of the few ways that you can really jump into ChatGPT for anyone and everyone who is looking to find an assistant that can help you do and get better. So for all of that, those are just like a couple of our ideas. Now that you've heard tech evolution, we want to know some of your ideas. What creative ways are you using Chat GPT to make your life easier? And educators, what specific work-related tasks do you really find yourself using Chat GPT for?
And if you're watching us on the YouTube channel, let us know your responses to these questions in the comments. And to my loyal Instagrammers, I want you to go ahead and comment on that most recent post on the page. Let's get this conversation going. And until next time, stay curious, stay bold, and stay